We'd like to call this insurance and insurance and finance committee meeting to order. This time, would you please stand and join us in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, let's roll right into it. We got agenda item 2.1, review and approval of the Board Insurance Finance Committee minutes from the September 15th committee meeting. This time I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'd like to make a motion that the committee approve the minutes from the Board Insurance/Finance Committee meeting on September 15th, 2025.
I guess I'll second that. Any discussion, any public comment from the minutes last month's meeting? All right, with that being said, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, 2.2, summary of property and casualty insurance coverage. Mrs. Early, if you'll come up to the podium, make sure the microphone is turned on, and please speak clearly into the mic. Thank you very much for being here. We haven't had property and casualty insurance on this committee's agenda before, so welcome to the committee. You're a new member for us, and we look forward to tackling this this tough challenge as we feel we have with health insurance. So the floor is yours, and Mr. Bazeron, at any point in time, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in, okay?
Is it on? Oh, it's green now, okay. All right. So a summary was provided in the documents for all of our casualty and property coverages, which include property, which is the gamut for damages, boiler machinery, which is for breakdown, terrorism, which is an active, it has to be a declared terrorist act, liability coverage, which is for all of our liable slander, sexual harassment, injuries, auto liability, management liability, just the gamut of those. Workers' comp, which of course is injured employees. Student professional liability, that is our policy that covers our CNAs and our EMTs.
Stop you for a minute. Where do you say it's located? You have
it? It's an attachment to the 2.2.
Yeah, we're going to need to pull it up because she's referencing something I don't think nobody can see.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's as an attachment, but it's a Word document, so.
Yeah.
Okay. The student professional liability coverage provides coverages for our CNAs and our EMTs that are at the career center so that they can work in nursing homes and the for Acadian ambulance. Active is salient coverage. That's a coverage that, in fact, we had an instance not too long ago where someone jumped over a fence. Had something happen and traumatized those kids, it would cover counseling, medical care, all those coverages like that for that kind of instance. That crime that's your employee crime, fraud, forgery, those type of things. Cyber, of course, is cyber, which covers the gamut, everything from notifications to legal assistance to if it's a ransom attack, they'll handle all that information. I work real closely with technology in making sure that we have the right information. Student accident insurance, we're required by statute to have a policy for our extracurricular activities, and this covers that. The student CAT coverage is just that layer above that in case it's a catastrophic event. Drone coverage is an aviation policy. We do have drones. We have one that actually flies, and we do have a licensed employee that could fly it. We have two types of bonds. We have a surety bond and we have an indemnity bond. We're required by statute for the superintendent to have an indemnity bond, and the check signers are all required to have a surety bond. Those are our coverages.
Just for the public's knowledge, the drone that you talk about, that's for the robotics class, and I think in Edgar Martin,
Yes,
right? Like, I
yes.
don't want people to think we're
Yeah.
flying drones around people's property, but like.
No,
it's part
we've
the
got a
robotics
lot of
system.
small ones that don't fly, that they learn to put together now, but we do have one that is capable of flying.
Yeah, so I guess that my question for us is, one of the things the full board has been doing is going back and reviewing all of our contracts. Health insurance has been the big one, but when was the last time we reviewed and went to market with our liability and property insurance and everything?
Well, it's marketed every year to different carriers.
Okay.
Louisiana is a tough state because we're not known for, we're known for being very litigious. And so it's hard to place coverages in Louisiana. So they do market it every year, though.
Okay. And our renewal date's July?
July 1, we do it at our fiscal renewal.
Okay, because I remember we talked about it last year, but it was in June, I want to say, or maybe end of May-ish, and we were kind of a little late, so we're prepping to look at the renewal process and everything for July, right?
July 1 is the official renewal date, yes.
So, Mr. Bergeron, the renewal for the policies is July 1, but the contract that we have with the current broker is June. So, what we would need to do if we were going to do anything, really and truly, we need to start off January 1st with the ball running because of the process that it takes. And so, depending on what route we take, and the superintendent is looking at several options right now. I don't want to speak for him, but no, he's looking at several options. I think that if anything needed to change on our end, it would need to be done prior to January as a board. So that he could then hit the ground running in January. But I just wanted it to be said what coverages we had. Our annual premium is a little north of $5 million. So, it's a big deal. It's not something that I think we should not be looking at. And to further answer your question, it's my understanding that the RFP for our current brokerage firm, current agency that we use, went out in 2021. And look, I know some people believe that we should shop insurance every year. That's a kind of a risky thing because if insurers know that you're going to shop it every year, they're probably not going to give you their better deals. But we also can't just let it run on and on and on without checking it. So this is just a starter package. Thank you, for that, Ms. Early. This is just a starter package to kind of get the committee and the public and the board acclimated to what we have, get a better understanding of it. This is now public, kind of spread this out a little further so that everyone can understand what we have. And then under the superintendent's direction and under our work, we'll try to figure out what path we take moving forward. Okay, any other questions for Ms. Early?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And also, Mr. Bergeron, you saw the packet that she left for you. It's a little intense, but gives you something to study, my friend.
It'll take me a while if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Item 2.3, approved projects of $200,000 or more. This is a finance item. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Touchette.
So board members, members of the public, I think it was Board Member Bergeron asked that we give updates on the current projects that we are working on that have been approved by the board, near completion, et cetera. So we're going to go ahead and pull this up so that that you all will kind of see we're at right now what has been approved and what we're working on. You can see that we are around 280 million, somewhere around there. But you can see that these various projects that you have there, again, I talk about it all the time, that we have a maintenance team that is handling all this and having some part of this. You can see that even Lafayette High is still on there because, again, we're still working on Lafayette High. You can see that the front is still not completed. We're still getting that new gym up and running. We still have lots to do as far as the back end of that is concerned. But all of these different projects that you have here will kind of, again, give you an idea of what this department has to deal with day in and day out. And I want to thank Dr. Rabelais along with Josh Fontenot and his team. They are definitely leading the way as far as these different things are concerned. And they have the task of making sure that not only they see it from the beginning, but they also see it to where they're making sure that all of these different things are completed. This right here shows you as board members and you as the public that we are heavily investing into the infrastructure of the school system. We look at, again, schools to be here for 40 and 50 years. And again, we have some schools that you will see that we're having to add things to that are in desperate need. But this right here is a very comprehensive look of what has been approved and what has been, something that we have started with as far as getting these projects going. Any questions? Dr. Robles is here to answer on behalf of that. But this right here gives you, Board Member Bergeron and Mr. Hidalgo, exactly what is it that has been approved and what the board has us working moving forward.
I just want to add to that, the JW Falk site construction, the bonding commission is meeting tomorrow morning to approve our sale of our bonds, so hopefully it goes smooth, no interruption, and we're good to go there, but that's it, thanks.
So JW Falk site construction is on here, but the Ernest Gaulet and the Broadmoor and the Milton aren't on here. Is that just because where they are in the process, or?
Is that in there, Doc?
No, sir, it's not on here. We were still in choosing the architect. We weren't just active yet. So by this week, we will be well under way in that process, selection of architects and processing on bids and next steps. So they will be also included. That's another $19.5–20 million in projects for those other three.
All right. Item 2.4, discussion and/or action regarding the Gallagher report. Who do we have? Come on down, Tony and friends.
Good afternoon. My name is Tony Murray with Gallagher, and you have the report. You should have a copy of the report, and I'll scroll through it also on the screen here. We have our monthly financial monitoring, which is through September, the end of September of 25. This is a cumulative plan performance, just an executive summary showing you our all plans and all classes, everything rolled up together is running at $538.83 per member per month. On a rolling 12, this would be $487.29. And so what that is the current one on the left is July through September. The one on the right is all the way from October of 24 through September of 25. The green areas, these are the classes. That's your actives, your active employees, which is your COBRA and your actives at $621.31. Retirees with no Medicare, this is folks that are under 65 or in that group that are over 65 but don't have access to Medicare. And they're running at $1258.68. Then we have our retirees plus 65 with Medicare. This is all plans. That's the self-funded and the Humana together at $243. This yellow line here is, it's showing you the retiree plus 65 class, but just the self-funded plans. So that has the Humana pulled out of that. And that's running at $245.03. So you can see the impact of the fully insured Humana plan brings that cost down about $2. And then we have the high deductible, the peach or the pink or orange. That would be the 4 plans. The high deductible plan, the PPO basic, PPO enhanced, and Humana. And just a reminder, within each of those are multiple classes, except for, of course, the Humana plan. And then there is detail on page 14 that breaks everything down.
Can you jump to 14 and go into that detail?
Sure.
It's 13.
Well, 14 is where the number is pulled from, but 13 is where it begins. I had to split it into 2 to make sure you can see it. So this gives us our enrollment of subscribers, our members. Then we have the Humana enrollees. And then this right here on the, this section here is the year to date. And the section on the right is the rolling 12.
Okay, let's stop there.
Okay.
So 698 members or humans are on the Humana
In
plan?
July. Yes, sir, in July.
Okay, when did that, it was 400.
Mhm.
It jumped 200 during last open enrollment, 230.
I thought it jumped by 200 last open enrollment up to 400 something.
We're in the 700s now.
Okay,
Yes, so January it went to 661, February was 667, then you went to 676, so it's been increasing about 10, 15 each month.
okay, continue, sorry.
We then have the section where we break it down by claims. This is just medical. That shows you inpatient, outpatient, professional, and other. So total medical claims right here for the year, for the fiscal year, is 10.7 million. Then we have the pharmacy claims broken out. This shows you the Blue Cross is no longer the PBM on the high deductible. That was just some carryover. So we have basically the commercial PBM, which is right now is RX Benefits, and then the EGWIP PBM, which is CVS. And then we have the rebates right below it. And then we have our total net claim payment that backs out also our stop loss reimbursements of about 137,000 that we're estimating you'll receive. And that brings us at a net claim for the year at 13.9 million. For the rolling 12, if you look over on the right, again, looking at 12 months rolling, is at about 51.2. Right below that is the fixed costs. And these are things from administration fees to the cost of your LPSS benefits department. Also, we add back in the interest income. Year to date is 1.3 million. Over a 12-month period, it's about 5 million. So the total self-funded plan cost, this is before we add in the Humana premiums, is at about 15.1 for year to date, or 15.2 for year to date, or 56.3 for rolling 12. I'm going to switch pages here. Everything stays the same right here under members. This is just to make sure you can see these and divide those by. So we have this total self-funded plan cost, again, is repeated, and then we add in the Humana cost. So this is total health plan cost. That's the self-funded plan plus the Medicare Advantage. That's where these numbers came from that you saw on the page 4. Here's the year-to-date and the rolling 12. And then we get into employee contributions, net employer cost, and fund transfers and so on.
Question.
Yes, sir.
What caused the spike in rebates in September?
So the rebates are paid quarterly, and so you actually that's when that payment would come in. And I will let you know that some of that is an estimate because I'm not sure that the check was necessarily received, but that was based on the report that we're getting. And then that's where we get the EGWIP subsidies. There are some subsidies that come in monthly, and then some that come in quarterly.
I didn't know if it was like if we re-signed some contract and we got
Oh, no.
rebates. So those are
No.
just regular rebates?
No, Mr. Badger, thank you for mentioning that. Just a reminder, all of this is based on everything before the January 1 change. All of the TPA changes that we're doing have not taken place yet. Now, some of the impact of the decisions the board made in September of last year, October of last year, those are definitely reflected in these numbers because you've seen some of that savings. But the overall, the big changes that you're looking for, those will be, hopefully I'll be reporting on those this time next year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any questions on the any more questions on the financials?
I may want to come back to it,
Okay.
but you can keep going.
All right. The next page here, right after, is the financial summary. This was just to give a visualization, actually, basically the question you just asked. It's easier to see when I've got 12 months of this, but you only see the rebate happen in September. So you will see a monthly cost fluctuate, but when I add it cumulative, it does kind of even out a little, and this was just to kind of demonstrate that visually for you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to lead to. It's like, it seems like our costs were going up, but then our monthly cost
Yeah.
per member went down, it's because of the rebates.
Yeah, I don't want to say that a monthly report is insignificant, but it's why I really prefer to report on them in here for quarterly, because you can have that lag. All right, if there's no further questions there, I'm going to turn this over to my colleague Matthew Ardwan.
Next page. So this page gives updates on the TPA and PBM implementation. All the boxes are basically the same. To summarize it, number one is we're on time with everything. We're going to be ready for January 1st. Number two, we're still having those weekly calls with the carriers and Trish and her team. Number three, employee and retirees are going to be receiving information from the carriers in the next month, so please be on the lookout for that. And then number four is the ID cards. Medical and pharmacy will be put together this year and will be received before January 1st.
And it'll have that big LPSS
It
across
does.
the front.
It does, right in the middle
It
for
will
you.
distinguish that this is a Lafayette Parish school system insurance and not anyone else.
We're stretching it as big as they can get it.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Any questions on that page? Next page
I guess I have
is-
a question on, I guess this is where I can ask for disruption. How are we doing on disruption? Is that disruption gap closing?
That is
That's
actually,
the next one?
Yeah.
that's the next
Well,
speaker.
we'll hold on to that.
All right. And
Yeah, the next page is the annual service calendar we go over every month. Really, one big thing is the stop loss marketing. We're finalizing that with the team right now. I believe they're going to reach out next week to set up a time, so it's coming soon.
And then, of course, supporting your team on open enrollment. And, there's a lot of communications going out, and I just want to make sure everyone's reading everything your benefit department is sending out, because a lot of important information, but we feel very good about the progress. That concludes the presentation. There's a couple items in the appendix just to remind you of the recaps of savings. And happy to go back over anything we discussed.
I don't know yet how to word my question, so we're
Okay.
gonna keep moving, and I may just talk to you offline, at some point, because what we want is, well, first of all, what we want is we want the most simplified version of everything, and you have worked very hard and accomplished that to the best of your ability. But we still have a disconnect between the way you guys are handling the reporting and the way we're handling the reporting. And we need to make that disconnect connect. And I understand that other districts that you work with don't have this issue. You guys are reporting, I don't care if it's all accrual or all cash, doesn't matter to me, just need it to be the same, because somebody's on accrual, somebody's on cash. It's very confusing. You report a number, the number's accurate, but it's very complex, appears to be misleading, it's perception. Then you come back next month and you report the number differently, but we don't go through the 16-paragraph explanation of the numbers. We need to get on the same page. I'm not asking you to change your system.
Sure.
We need to get on the same page. And we had a brief meeting this past week with Melody and others whereby I requested, get us on the same page. And I know it was too late for the meeting,
Yep.
but it's not fair to us or the public, because we're not actuaries like you guys. We're not CPAs. We're not, okay? We just need the number. We just need to know what the number is. Okay, so let's work on that. It's getting so much better, but
Yeah.
let's clean it up.
And I just want to say that moving to the new TPAs, the reporting is going to be a lot easier to break down and pull down, so that may help with some of that. I think that there's also been some disconnects on some reporting, but we hear you clearly.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Bajarov? No, good. Superintendent? Okay, thank you, guys.
Thanks.
All right. Our last agenda item, 2.5, discussion and or action regarding the Meritain Aetna, including the Verity Network disruption report. I'd like to turn it over to the superintendent to make comments and an introduction, and then he'll take it from there with our guests.
Thank you, board members, members of the public. So let me front load a few different things for all of you of what is going to take place in the next few minutes. One is that, as all of you know, that we have moved from Blue Cross to Meritain. And part of that movement meant that there was some disruption that was taking place that I tasked our team with, that we needed to go out there, and us moving from Blue Cross to Meritain, that should be minimal disruptions, because if people are using certain doctors or using certain places of healthcare, we needed to accommodate that as much as possible. I'm going to say that we have tackled that in two ways, and I'm just going to give it to the public in reference to the reason why we went with Meritain, and I want everyone in the public to know why we went with Meritain, is because they allowed us to go in and do some direct contracting. Blue Cross, they said, even though it was our insurance, you can't go do all of that. And I was kind of like taken back that this is our insurance and this is our money, and you're telling us that we can't go talk to people about giving us better deals. So we moved to Meritain for that reason, that we have an opportunity now, because the board and the employees contribute to this fund, that we can now negotiate with people out there in the public. And the way we attack this is that I brought in a consultant that, again, for everyone to understand, going with Meritain, they allowed us with some allowances that we were able to use in the way I felt that we needed to as far as transitioning in there. And part of that allowances was used to get this disruption list as minimal as possible, but more importantly, to use the avenue of direct contracting. I have been in these meetings. I want everyone to know this. We have been in the meetings with Acadian Ambulance. And you will see that they are first on that list right there. They will be part of this Meritain insurance. And we are negotiating prices and things that are going to be beneficial to Lafayette Parish School System. And we have done that. So we have taken it from the standpoint that we have a consultant that we use some monies from Meritain to go in and start working on getting contracts that are beneficial to our system, but also to get this list down. We also solicit, and we made sure that Meritain, along with their partners, Aetna and Verity, both were given tasks to get in here and start making sure some of these different things are taking place. So I say all of that because I want all of you to know this is going to be a constant thing that we're going to have to continue to do, because these people are going to go out for themselves. They are not going to be thinking about how they can provide the services to our employees, but also to treat the system, which is financially, with respect. So I say all of that is because Mr. Kelly Cox is here. He handled a lot of the overall charge of getting this list down, making sure that he worked with Verity and Aetna to make sure that this was something they've done. But more importantly, this particular system is going to see the fruits of this labor when these contracts go into place, and that we are not putting forth the money that we have actually done with some of these high-powered individual providers that we've had in the past. So again, I'm excited. I will tell you that I have superintendents all around me that are watching us, and they are looking to see exactly how this pans out, even to the point where superintendents are asking, when we create this own network type of thing, can we join in and can we benefit from all of this? So we are right at the beginning of something that is big. I want to thank Mr. Hidalgo, along with Board Member Bajeron and Mr. Edmond, that they have given us this opportunity. And I will just tell you, this is the start of something that is going to be as one of the providers says, I was reading a book about just what you guys are doing here. A provider said to us, I was reading a book of what you guys are doing here. And that made me feel like, man, we're on the right page. Like we are doing something that no one else is doing. And again, we want to provide the best coverage. We want to make sure all of our employees, whether it be retirees, active, you get your doctors, you do whatever. But we also need to make sure that these individuals are treating us with respect also as far as finances are concerned. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Cox and the team, and they'll kind of just go through this. You can see the list is up here, and it will be available, and it's a working document, guys. It's not something that we are finished with, but let me just tell you this right now. When Meritain came, they only gave us the top 10, I want to say, of total disruptions. These guys right here have the top 86. 86 different disruptions, and they are really working this list to where we can get this to where all of our employees are going to benefit from this work.
Gentlemen, before you jump in, please introduce yourselves and tell us who you're with, and then the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Kelly Cox, I am the independent consultant that Francis was talking about earlier. And I guess maybe leading the charge here, but certainly have a lot of more than capable help with the Verity team and the Aetna team. So as Francis mentioned, when we first started to tackle this project, there were 86 providers on the list who were contracted with Blue Cross, but were with neither Aetna or Verity. And so this is kind of a multi-faceted project where all three of us are working together, and we all three kind of go at this a different way. Like for instance, you'll see on the chart here, there's over on the right, direct contract, Verity agreement, Meritain Aetna agreement. For instance, with Verity and Aetna, they go about contracting a different way. So Verity, as I think all of you all know, is a local network based out of Baton Rouge, been around a long time, and they actually, their team gets on the phone with providers, whether it be a group or one sole practitioner. They will reach out to them and call them. Aetna will operates a little differently. If it's a sole practitioner, for instance, they'll have to either at the urging of one of us or a patient or customer, they will send them to their website, and they can basically begin the process themselves. So one is kind of a reactive, the other one is a proactive, and that's kind of the difference there. On the direct contracting, these are issues, entities that we are talking to, have spoken to, continue to talk to, that do not want to get into a network arrangement, but they will, because of the size of the group, entertain a direct contract. So we work with them, and then directly about trying to get pricing that we both agree to. And then there are other entities that are also, I consider them to be direct contracts as well, although they're not technically a direct contract. I'll explain here. So Acadian is the only one at this point. Now, we've got others that we're talking to, so they won't end up being the only one, but they're the only one at this point that has a direct contract with them and LPSS. We're talking to others, like I said, that don't want to get into networks for a multitude of reasons, but they will entertain a direct relationship with LPSS. We're working on those. Some of those negotiations are ongoing, and will continue to be ongoing. And then there's that last tier of existing contracts where we are going out to providers and we are trying to do, and we have already done that, gotten better arrangements than the existing contract. That is significant, and I think, as Francis said, that's going to be reflective in when claims start coming in. So with that being said, what I want to do is turn this over to Alex. I think we didn't want to go through all of these line by line, but what we've done is set them up where we've got the yeses, we've got the negotiations, and those that have said no. And just so everybody understands, this never was, never did we believe that we would be able to get all 86 of these under the tent. That's just not going to happen for a lot of reasons, but providers, certainly sole providers, a lot of them don't want, frankly, just don't want to deal with insurance. They don't want to have to bill, go through the process of it requires additional staffing. Some of them are doing everything themselves, and they would have to ramp up their expense side to be able to handle that. So funny thing is, some of those were with Blue Cross, so they will handle it with Blue Cross, but they won't handle it with other entities. So interesting that those exist, but I think the process here going forward, I think we'll be able to determine who wants to deal and play ball with LPSS and who doesn't, because between the two networks and the direct contracts, there's going to be very little to no disruption, because we're talking about 86 here. We're talking about thousands of providers that are servicing members of this plan. So from the jump, we're good with this 86, but we're hacking into this 86 and then doing better on some that we already have under contract. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to Alex. He'll kind of jump through this. We won't take them line by line. If anybody has any specific questions, please jump in. Last thing I'll say is that for those here who are members of the plan, and if you see somebody on this list that is either pending or says no, they don't want to entertain a contract, no voice is louder than that coming from their own customer or patient, okay? So it will require that effort as well. Trish, I know Trish will be taking calls from members who don't see this and will say, hey, in January, February, hey, my provider's not on the list. And, she will ask, hey, have you asked them to do so? Because it's really going to take all oars in the water on this. So with that being said, Alex.
Yeah, thank you much. Good afternoon, Alex Arana, the VP of Business Development for Verity. So I am here to talk about the positive progress that Verity is making currently with the contracting process of the 86. There is a list of 86 on the disruption list here, really 82, because 4 of them are closed providers. 2 are retirees, 2 are just closed in general. So of the 82, we have 29 executed contracts, successfully executed contracts. 18 of those 86 have been contacted. They have agreed to join or be contracted with. We're just negotiating schedules as far as fee schedules. 11 of those 86 have been contacted with no response currently. 4 of those 86, again, were closed or retiring. 12 of the 86 declined direct contracting for LPSS at current, right? Those and the providers, the 8 providers that declined due to Blue Cross Blue Shield exclusivity have been, of course, notified that they would be out of network for LPSS. So negotiations ongoing, outreach ongoing.
So are they listed on here when you say that? Can you go? I want to see it. If you can just bring it up a little bit more, I want to see.
Absolutely. So these like where it says, I think it's not numbered, but right under the 2 that are listed, closed business closed. You'll see the closed business providers retiring. Okay, yeah, they're not interested. It's below the provider is retiring.
So the first one not interested, Advanced Healthcare Solutions.
Yes.
So Advanced Healthcare Solutions is a healthcare provider who was in the Blue Cross network, who has seen at least one individual who is on the Lafayette Parish school system plan. They were not in either Verity or Aetna's network, only Blue Cross. And they are refusing to become part of this network they'll be out of network for whatever patient or patients they have seen or are seeing.
That's exactly
Because they have chosen that they do not want to be in this network.
That's right.
And that's number one. I'm not picking on them. That's number one. The point I'm trying to make is, and I'm gonna preface everything when I'm gonna try to bring it down to a third grade level when you guys are done, just for the sake of the recording. But they're just one of, I don't know, a dozen or a dozen and a half of the 86 who you've reached out to that do not want to do business with Lafayette Parish School System as a network for whatever reason.
Correct. Absolutely.
To be more specific, there's 22 on this particular list that have chosen that they don't want nothing to do with Lafayette Parish. And that's being very frank, that's specifically what they're saying.
That's right.
By first of all saying, no, we only do business with Blue Cross, or no, we don't want to do business at all with you guys.
That's exactly right. Sure.
I think that's an important distinguishment there. I don't know if that's a word, but so there are two reasons to do this. First is, and I call them 1 and 1A. First is financial. I'm not so sure that it's not 1A. Second is member friction, which is what we mean by disruption. And when I say member, we're talking about a customer. We're talking about a patient of a provider, an existing customer, a patient of a provider, that they do not want to have to accept the insurance card, file on their behalf, and make it easy for their patient or customer. Now, those that are with the ones I think that should be highlighted are the ones that are with Blue Cross, right? Because they are doing that to some extent now. It's maybe a little easier than it is with some others, but still. So anyway, so that's the reason that we do it. And as I said earlier, a valid reason, however, for an independent or a sole practitioner to not do it is if they're doing everything themselves. You have a speech therapist out there, in an office by his or herself, and they're busy. They don't have time to do it. But if they have time to do it for Blue Cross has more patients in Louisiana than anybody else, so they're doing it. Just want to clarify, some of the differentiators here.
Yeah, and I think that for the members of the public and board members to understand is that, of these 22, the patients who are employees, if they really feel strongly that these people need to be a part, they have something to do with this by being that voice and making sure that you go and contact, because we have done our due diligence and they have said no to us. Let's see if they say no to the various employees that are actually going to see these individuals.
I didn't mean to cut your presentation.
No, not at all.
Go ahead
not
and
at all.
continue.
So no, with that being said, I think just kind of wrapping it up, 4 of those 86 are pending outreach. So we are in the process of reaching out to them, haven't quite made contact with them as yet, but working on that. But of course, keeping in mind, Verity does have a dedicated staff that's making consistent calls, outreaches. Again, I'm not technically part of that team, but I have had extensive conversations. I have had extensive conversations with our contracting and credentialing team, and the outreach has been really positive. So to the most part, I would say that they've been pretty receptive. Most of the providers, anyway. Again, with the exception of those 22 that we're still working on. We're not going to cease efforts with those folks. We're going to continue all the way through plan implementation and beyond. So this is going to be a work in progress.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, some of these may change over time. Some may be added to the list. So it will be an ongoing effort. And I think the last thing I would add is the last 4 on the last page of the list here, CVS, Caremark, and guys, I don't know if you want to speak to this, but I mean, CBS will no longer be, my understanding, an active PBM going forward. So they won't be in the mix, or the other three who are basically under in the RX space as well. Yep. So I guess you would say that would be an NA column, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, probably so, but before Mr. Bergeron asks any questions, I'd like to just recap on a different level and maybe help simplify it. And I'm glad that you guys presented the way you did, and I'm glad that this document, which is going to be a living, breathing document, is now public, and we can, we've got a little time to attack it. I was very hopeful that A, the disruption list would be short, and that B, the disruption list would be tackled at 100%. I was dreaming way big. I'm very pleased to see how far this has come. We have direct contracted with a major provider who was not in either of the networks. Right here, somebody homegrown, Katie and Ambulance, and we have contracted a good deal with them. The reason that we went with Meritain over anyone else was because of their proposal back to us, based on the exact claims that had been processed the previous year. So, imagine I give you all my claims, and now you tell me, based on these claims, what would have been our cost to do business based on these claims. And Meritain came back with Aetna and Verity Wrap with a better end result. So that's the reason we chose them, because they came back with a better end result. But on top of that end result, we've got Verity, we've got Acuity, and to some extent, Meritain, renegotiating the better deals that we got by choosing them even lower. So we had a provider, major providers, guys. We're not talking about, just one chiropractor here. We're talking about major providers, big chunk of where we spend our money. Not only was Meritain's offer better than what we had with Blue Cross, but we have been allowed to go back to the table and say, we know it was better, but we want even better than that. And it's been successful. And that's going to be a big deal. This list right here tells me that what we would like not to hear from the public is, well, my doctor's not in your network. Well, we've contacted every single doctor who has a patient from Lafayette Parish School System, every provider, and they've had an opportunity to get in this network. And they have said no. So now, with all due respect to the list, they may have their reasons for saying no. Maybe they're going to sell out. Maybe they don't want to deal with it. All I can say now is what we don't want to hear as a system and as the public is, well, my doctor's not in your network. You got that right. Your doctor chose not to be in our network, and it's incumbent upon you as the customer, the patient, to say, why would you not want to continue to service me? Why are you not getting in that network? So we finally at a position where we can turn the tables and say, it's time to stop being taken advantage of, so to speak. And these providers were not taking advantage of us. Our TPA was. So I'm pleased with this list. I really wish this list would go to zero. I wish these providers would say, you know what, yeah, I need to do business with Lafayette Parish School. I want to be on that list. And this list doesn't include am I stretching it to say thousands of providers that are in these networks that we now have that are providing services to our people?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, Jeremy, is that you've got, I just threw out 1,000, but there's well over 1,000 different providers that are filing claims with the plan. So when you talk starting out at 84, 86, whatever number you're at, you're already talking about a very small percentage.
Yes.
Right? And so, cutting that in half, 2/3, and like I said, I think as we go and people start to understand the dynamic of what's happening and how and why it's happening, I think that number will even get smaller. I really believe that.
Well, first of all, I think that the estimate was around a 6% disruption. And I think that was a kind of maybe a high number, but nonetheless, this is the list. This is the reality. This is the list of people who were in Blue Cross Network providing services to Lafayette Parish School System members who did not accept Verity or Aetna. And of that list, you guys have tackled it wonderfully and made better deals on top of it for other providers to see significant savings. And we're not even talking about PBM yet. We're just talking about medical claims. So I hope that I've been able to package it where it makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me. It's time for these providers to, look, first of all, we're gonna pay them very timely, and they're gonna get paid, if not more, they're gonna get paid what they were getting paid before.
That's right.
This is a matter of them adding a new system in their office. But I think that what the patient, or the customer, or the member needs to know is that they can't just call and say, hey, do you accept Verity or Aetna? And then they say, no, we don't. And then they just hang up the phone and, oh, you people, my doctor's not in your network. No, you got to change the conversation. Why are you not accepting Lafayette Parish School System's insurance? I want to continue to be your customer and your patient. And I need you to get on board with these guys. Because guess what? Everybody else is. Mr. Bajarov?
I just had a few questions. So we have the list, and this may be a question for Trish or for Gallagher as well. Or how are we going to notify individuals if they're currently using a provider that's not going to be covered? Are we notifying them? What are we doing to let people know? Or are we doing anything to let people know? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know if who's that a question for?
I can get that if you want.
Yeah.
We have given all of the membership to include the active and retirees as searchable engine to where they can take a look to see if their provider is in network based on that changeover from Blue Cross to the Aetna Verity network. So they do have access to it. We're asking members to kind of do their homework and take a look at it. Superintendent has also asked me to send this out as a communication direct to members. So that's going to go out too. It has been on board docs. But he did make that statement prior to the board meeting, to the board insurance committee meeting.
I just want to give somebody a heads up before they show up at their doctor and realize they don't take the insurance.
Remarkably, our members have been listening. They have been doing their due diligence. They have been pulling up that information just to make sure they are concerned about the changeover, so they've been working through that process.
Okay, I appreciate it.
And Trish, one other question. Can you scroll back up to the top of this document? These ones that agreement executed, are we updating our list to make sure that people know that these, these are the top 20, these 29 right here, where the agreement has been taken care of? I assume that that's being updated to where at least we know exactly what this list looks like.
Are you referring to the search engine is kind of what I'm thinking?
I'm just saying, like, for example, now that we have a direct contract with Acadian, I need people to know that they're gonna have ambulance services.
I think what he's saying, Ms. LaBeouf, is the fact that if I go to search my doctor right now and I'm not in the network, it's not going to show. So is there a separate tab that we could put the ones all the way that have already in agreement? That way we could put that on there, an attachment. It might not be found in the search engine, but if it'd be to the side, here are the ones that check here also. You know how you're having to check? He just wants to make sure if you're searching and it says no, it's not on the network, there's another place to look to see if they've signed an agreement.
Let me say one more thing. Like, for example, there was a retiree, and they're not here, had asked about Scott physical therapy. Somebody asked about that, and I specifically told one of the three to go in, call them and make sure, because they said, all right, this thing right here is pending, all right, an executed document. So where are we with these type of things? I mean, that we are pending or we are negotiating with providers? Like, are we giving ourselves a date that we are saying, hey, everything has to be done by this time so that this system can be updated?
Yeah, December 15th, I think, is right now the target date. So Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, no, I think December 15th at current is the target date that we're aiming for. But it really comes down to the provider as far as like how quickly they can get the paperwork, like execute the paperwork to us. I will say that the Verity agreements, the Verity executed agreements, those update on our end for that search portal that Trish was talking about. Those auto-populate like in our search portal. So.
I think I heard half of the answer. So
I
it
know,
sounds
yeah,
like
it's
the
something like
Verity, you're updating it
We are updating it
based
on our search
on
portal.
members when they go to the Verity site, then they should be able to see the
That's
information
exactly
with
right.
regard to Verity in particular, correct?
Yes.
So basically, the Scott
Now-
Physical Therapy, if I go in and search, it should already be updated because the agreement was executed.
Now, keep in mind, they would
Yes.
have to be looking on the Verity search engine. Both search engines are available. I am gonna have to get some more information with regard to the direct contract and the Meritain pieces. I have weekly meetings with them. I can do a follow-up, but we'll make sure that this gets in their hands and we'll work towards that process based on the request.
And it also depends as well, like the execution or the executed date. So if they are due to go effective, let's say 11/1, if they search today, it's not going to be in there. So it's gonna update once that agreement goes effective or goes live.
And for further clarity, everyone is going to have health coverage on January 1.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to get ahead of that provider that hasn't switched over in our network. And if that provider refuses to, and the patient doesn't want to work their own claims, then they'll have to find another provider. And we just want to get ahead of that as far as possible. So just wanted the public to know, everyone has health care coverage, January 1, regardless of what happens with this list.
Well, I'll add to that too, that for these that remain on the list, between the two networks, there are going to be plenty of other options aside from what's on this list.
Second question. So the ones that are agreement pending, how confident are you that they'll be done by December 15th? I know it's not something you can probably quantify.
Yeah, no, that's one I'm going to have to go back to my contracting team and get specifics on that. Yeah.
Those
I
seem
can
the
get
ones
that.
that are we're kind of in the air. We don't know right now. So
Yeah, we only have 2 of those under the executed. All the other ones, the negotiating with providers, those are pretty much all pending, just because, for effectively fee schedule purposes.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, and Roddy too, I think he alluded to this. So if you're looking at that the bottom list there, and you have some of those are sole practitioners, all of them are going to be in various phases of the negotiation with different time frames. So some of them may not come on till after the first of the year, right?
So we kind of knew, I know Gallagher gave us the heads up that this type of process, this kind of out of the box for our market was going to be a tough thing to do. I want to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to allow us to do this. It's easy to say no, especially when you're a big insurance company or I'm sorry, a large network and you have a lot of clout. I know you guys are local. And we know Aetna's not local, but we know that they have a great network and some great deals with some providers here. So I want to thank you guys for allowing us the ability to do what we're doing. This is not just another customer. These are a lot of taxpayer dollars going toward this plan. Everybody here, no matter what the cost is, deserves the very best healthcare coverage. That's not going to change because the providers are who they are. This is about getting the best bang for our buck. This is about eliminating middlemen from the process of healthcare. So we knew this was going to be tough. I felt like we only had one shot to get it right. It looks like we're pretty close to getting it right. The superintendent said that other superintendents in the area are looking at us. Well, I'll tell you right now, I've gotten many phone calls from insurance agents on down the line saying, we're watching every move you guys are making. We are fortunate enough to be Lafayette Parish and be in this market and have the providers we do, where people from all around come into Lafayette to do business. I think this was the perfect storm. I think we're a little late to the game, but better late than never. Yes, sir.
I was gonna say, you answer those calls?
I do.
When I see an insurance person trying to call me, I'm
Oh,
like,
no,
"That's
I do. I'm in this game. I am committed to this process no
I'm
matter
offended,
what.
Roddy.
They can threaten to burn me at the stake. I'm in till the end. I'm not backing down. So, thank you guys. This is good news, and hopefully by the time December 15th comes around, we're gonna be able to call it great news. And I don't know when we'll have you guys back out again. This was kind of what we wanted to put through, and now I'm so glad now, Ms. Trish, you can put this out. It'll be there. People can start calling their providers. Superintendent, do you have any other comments, questions? Mr. Bergeron?
No, I just want to say thank y'all for all the work you put into it. I know it was not easy, fun, or what we thought we were going to be doing at the beginning of the year. But I think we've turned a huge curve here, and Mr. Hidalgo, I appreciate it. Like you've led some of the charge on this, so I can't tell you that like it's very much appreciated because I didn't know a whole lot about insurance whenever I started on here, but I've learned a good deal since then, so I do appreciate it.
Well, good. Study this P&C packet, and we'll tackle that next. Gentlemen, thank you very much. And with that being the last item on the agenda, this meeting is adjourned.